How do you characterize a role of a product owner? Are you a facilitator, a coach, or a driver? How do you characterize it? To what extent a product owner is a product manager?
In my opinion, one of the greatest challenges which we face is people management. Like I said, influencing without authority.
Since we're talking about product owner, so it's important to talk about product vision to start with. So what is product vision actually? Can you give an example?
If you see product vision and business goal, I actually measure them on the 4 parameters. Like for example, a time frame.
So your product vision sits on the top. Then you have your goals. Then you have your...
So how does it balance, or how do you balance the long-term product vision and the goals with these kind of quick wins?
It's like a challenges that a product owner face on a daily basis, like meeting the long-term product vision with the short-term development goals. So I think the approach as a product owner should be like...
Now we move into the scenario-based questions.
In case you're not clearing that tech debt, it will become a huge burden or a pressure on your team.
Product owners are professionals who help materialize product vision into an actual product, ensuring that the development team delivers the value aligned to the business goals. So that makes the product owner roles very important. So if you are an aspiring product owner, or you want to transition from an assistant product owner to a product owner role, you must watch this episode. Welcome to a brand new episode of Future Forward, a podcast series by Techcanvass on artificial intelligence, business analysis, and product management. Every week, we invite an industry expert to talk about a topic at length. This week, I have not one, but 2 guests. And I'm going to put them on hot seats to answer the questions which are most important and frequently asked product owner interview questions. So let me start by introducing them first. So I have Nitin Deswal, who is a Safe Agile, CBAP and AWS certified professional with a diverse professional background in business analysis, consulting, and now product ownership. Currently, he's working as a product owner with a global bank. Anish Tiwary is a skilled product owner and business analyst with over 10 years of experience in the BFSI domain, spanning Indian, US, European, and South African markets. He's currently building an innovative GenAI-based product and holds multiple certifications, including PSPO, PSM, Safe Agilist, and ECPA. Welcome to the episode, Nitin and Anish.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you, sir.
So, let me start by asking you the first question. How did the transition to the product owner role happen? So, let me start with you, Anish.
Okay. So I was working as a business analyst in a service-based industry. So last year I got an opportunity to switch my career as a product owner to a product-based company. So when I was working as a business analyst, I always used to get motivated by seeing my product owner from the client side. One of the very fine product owner whom I worked with, I always remember and I always thank him for guiding me throughout this career is Steve. He was from London. So I got this opportunity in a product-based organization, and I took the opportunity to lead a team of around 20 people, and we are building a product based on Investigate AI that will be like that is already launched in the market, and we are planning to onboard multiple customers. So this is how I transitioned from BA to product owner.
Yeah, good to know that. Now, how about you, Nitin?
My career path is kind of similar to what Anish said. I was a business analyst before this. While working as a business analyst, I was playing some of the responsibilities related to product ownership as well. For example, helping my product owners in defining that vision, making sure that we are delivering value to the clients, owning those backlogs, leading the Scrum calls. So product ownership was kind of a natural progression for me. And that was the step which I took recently, a few months back.
Okay, so Anish, this is the first question for you.
Yeah.
As a product owner, what are the typical activities done by you?
So the day in day out activities that as a product owner I do, like starts with the stakeholder alignment, or you can say stakeholder collaborations. The internal and external stakeholders, like we discuss about the product vision, the roadmap that we are planning to do. Apart from that, the important thing is the refinement and the grooming sessions, discussion with the development team, with the day in activity, what they are doing, and what are our plans to achieve the vision or the release plan that we are doing. And the most important thing that I took it as like the participation in all the Scrum events and the release planning and the, you can say, PI planning and PI briefing, to give the development team why we are building this. This is the most important thing as a product owner. You need to give the understanding to the team, because in this the dynamic environment, the development team should be aware the motto or the motive behind building the product. It should not be like you give them a functional walkthrough and they start building it. They are not knowing why they are building, who will be using it. So these are the things that as a product owner I do in my day-to-day activities.
Okay. So the next question is, how do you characterize a role of a product owner? Are you a facilitator, a coach, or a driver? How do you characterize it?
I think we are all, and I'll tell you why. So when it comes to explaining the business benefit to a tech team or say a salesperson, you are someone who will act as a facilitator. You tell what logic is going behind developing this, why we are doing this. Like Anish mentioned few minutes back, we are also drivers as well. We drive the project from end to end, making sure that product vision is getting met based on the delivery timelines, delivery values, etc. We are tacticians as well. Why I say this? Because you have to be tactful in getting things done. You have to be tactful in pitching your products. You have to be tactful influencing people without authority. So I think we are a combination of all.
Okay. So the next question is, to what extent a product owner is a product manager?
I think we discussed this before we met. Like, I think both the role overlap it. I categorize into 3 different sections. Like, if we say about it, the first section will be the strategic focus, the second will be the tactical execution, and the third will be the customer or the market interaction. So as a product manager, strategic focus will be on the higher side. So like the product owner will be on the medium side. On the execution part, the product manager will be the medium side and the product owner will be the higher side, because he need to execute the drive the, as we told about the like driving the product success. And the customer market interaction in this era, like I keep watching like my product manager interacting with the different customers, so they are on the higher side and product owner is on the medium side. So this is how both the role overlap each other.
Okay. So the next question is, what are the most challenging aspects of being a product owner, especially considering that the way things are so dynamic and moving so fast?
In my opinion, obviously there are multiple challenges, but in my opinion, one of the greatest challenges which we face is people management. Like I said, influencing without authority. You don't have anyone reporting under you. You don't have developers, testers, or solution architects reporting under you. So getting things done becomes a bit difficult. Plus, keeping the team motivated sometimes becomes difficult. Making sure that they are aligned to what they like. You can't give them all the time. But yes, people management is one of the toughest challenges which I feel we face in our day-to-day life.
Okay.
Just to add on it, like as a product owner, you are negotiating between the business need and the technical feasibility.
Correct. Okay, so that could also be one of the challenges.
Yes.
Okay. So the next question is, as a product owner, do you use any tools? And if yes, which are the tools and why do you use it?
Yeah, so the first one, like we have a product summit half yearly. So for the product summit, we define our capability on a higher level in a tool called as AHA. And then apart from that, like the basic tool is the Jira and Confluence for maintaining the requirements and other details on the user stories and other things. For the design and other part, right now we are more into the Figma. We are using it, and in our day-to-day activity, I like to use Draw.io because it gives a very good picture when I am explaining or I try to demonstrate something to my stakeholders or to my development team. So Draw.io, I keep it very handy. So these are the tools I use on a daily purpose.
So Nitin, would you like to add anything here?
The tools which Anish mentioned are, I mean, obviously there are some common tools which you use as a product owner, plus there are some tools which your role demands. So I've been working in the API space now. So my role demands tools like Insomnia, IntelliJ, Kibana. So these are a couple of tools which you pick up while working on the job because, like I said, your roles demands it, and rest of the tools which Anish explained are quite common across the industry.
Okay. So now let's get into the next part of the episode. So since we're talking about product owner, so it's important to talk about product vision to start with. So what is product vision actually? Can you give an example?
In simple terms, if I have to explain what you want to achieve out of your product, where do you want to reach? And now, while writing a product vision, few things which you have to keep in mind are who your clients are or customers are, what problem are you solving for them, not just focusing on the feature, but the value which you will deliver and where you want to reach. So, for example, if I have to give a very simple example, Google's product vision, I might not be quoting the exact vision, but it's something like, getting global information at one click, which is very much what they actually do. So what problem are they solving? They are aggregating they are aggregating all the information at one place, and it becomes a placeholder for anyone who wants to get into, they want to research, they want to do their assignments, etc. I mean, there are multiple use cases. And who will it benefit? It will benefit everyone. It will benefit students. It will benefit professions. What problems are they solving? You will save time. You will have an option to get that information at just one click. And it's kind of a fact-based approach as well, which you take from Google, I would say.
Yeah, correct. That's a good example. So now moving from product vision, there are also business goals and objectives. So how are these connected?
So if you see product vision and business goal, I actually measure them on the 4 parameters. Like for example, a time frame, the focus, and then the flexibility and the function. So product vision is actually like time frame. If you say it's a long term, like what we are planning to achieve, and goal will be like a short term specific thing that we will be achieving this in this milestone or in this release. Then in terms of focus, it will be a ultimate impact that it will be giving to the users. But like from the business goals, it will be like a quantifiable business results. From the flexibility perspective, technology and feature agnostic is what product vision is. But from the goals perspective, it will be specific and actionable tasks.
Okay. Yeah. So now the next question would be to connect these two. So there's a vision and there are goals and objectives, which are more shorter term compared to the vision. So how does that get connected, or how do product owners or any other professional evolve that from product vision into the specific goals and objectives?
Okay. Let me start from kind of a top-down approach. So your product vision sits on the top. Then you have your goals. Then you have your objectives. Then you have your roadmap. And then it's your release planning backlog, I would say. If I have to give you an example, imagine there is a new company coming into the market. Their vision is to make places greener. All right. One of the goals is to create a marketplace. The other goal is to improve customer experience. The third goal is to create a repository for customers to know about what species of plants are available, etc., etc. Your objective for that marketplace will be or could be to say host plus 60 plants on that website, to onboard say, and then I'll assign some measures as well, say plus 60 by Q3. And then I want to onboard say 1,000 customers as soon as I go live in Q4 or something. I'm just quoting a few examples. So this is how you break down your product vision into smaller chunks, and these chunks will go on your roadmap. And once they are on your roadmap, then you will go for the sprint ceremonies. You will do those sprint planning, scrums, etc., and make sure that every deliverable which you're delivering is assigned to those objectives, goals, and then product roadmap as well. Product vision as well.
Yeah, that's a good description. So now the question would be, sometimes, okay, there'll be demand for certain things to be done immediately.
Correct.
Okay, so that's like a immediate low-hanging fruits.
Correct.
So how does it balance or how do you balance the long-term product vision and the goals with these kind of quick wins?
So it's like a challenges that a product owner face on a daily basis, like meeting the long-term product vision with the short-term development goals. So I think the approach as a product owner should be like he should anchor every sprint to the vision that what we are going to achieve, and the roadmap integration should be done by the product owner more frequently. And like I keep telling my team also, like always communicate the why behind every vision that we are doing. You should know the why. And or the most important or the most challenging part as a product owner should be like how you should be like prioritizing to say no to some of the stakeholders which is not giving that value by keeping that item as of now. So the prioritization to say no is a good skill set to have as a product owner.
So, what methods do you use to gather insights for the product vision?
Okay. So there are 4 5 drivers to it. First one is the market. So it could be a client request. It could be the competition. Then the second driver is regulatory changes or say governmental regulations which are making you do that change. Then the third driver could be an internal change. So there is a possibility that the solution architects have proposed something which will make your product better. So that's kind of a tech change which is driven internally. So yeah, these are the couple of drivers which play an important role, and then your market research comes into picture, your competitive analysis comes into picture, market research comes into picture. So yeah, these are the couple of factors which drives the product vision. Plus, if I have to add one more thing, is those incidents raised by your clients, those feedbacks, suggestions provided by your clients are also one of the major factors pushing the features into the product, and also helps in prioritization as well.
So now we move into the scenario-based questions. Okay. So the first question is to you, Nitin. So describe a time when you have to handle a backlog which is quite complex in nature. So what do you do and how do you manage it?
Okay, so there are multiple definitions of a complex backlog. A backlog can be complex if it is not prioritized, it is loaded with items, and there's no refinement at all. The other complexity can be you don't have a placeholder for the backlog. You have a backlog somewhere in somebody's computer, in somebody's desktop, in somebody's notes, on Confluence, but you don't have a placeholder for it, a dedicated placeholder which will make it transparent across your team, across the organization. I have faced a situation where there was no placeholder as such. So I sat with the Scrum Master, I sat with my other product owners who I work along with, sat with my tech team, basically the entire team, and we had a couple of workshops in order to define how we want our backlog to look like. So now we have divided into 3 teams. We have backlog for every team, and then we have kind of a combined backlog for product owners. So that is how we have done. And now we have guidelines as well in place that any item which you feel will deliver value has to be added on backlog. And then we discuss that whether it can be prioritized right now or whether it has to go into other PI. By PI, I mean program increment, basically, which goes on for a quarter. So that is how we have managed. And the other challenge, or I would say the other complex backlog which I faced was it was not refined at all. It was not prioritized at all. So again, sat with Scrum Masters, told them that, use user estimation techniques, user story estimation techniques, use story points. And in case you feel that some items has to be removed from a backlog, please do that, close them. So these are the 2 complex backlog I would say I have faced.
Just to add on it, like what I feel like it should not be a rule defined that you need to refine your backlog like fortnightly or monthly. It should be like whenever the need is there, the refinement should be done. And the more you discuss, like I have seen people being shy or like you say they don't want to discuss more. I feel like no one knows everything. The more you discuss, the more refinement it gives, and the more confidence as a product owner also, and as a team also you will get. So I think this mantra gives you a lot of success. Like start discussing. I'm not saying they start talking rubbish or something like that, but the more you interact with your stakeholders and the relevant stakeholders, the more answers and the more simplified backlog you will have.
Yeah, good point. So now the question is technical debt versus new product features. So how do you balance that in the backlog management?
See, like how we do in our release planning, we have a like soft estimate and a hard estimate type of thing. So for the particular release, we like, for example, that some number of man days has been defined by the development team that we will be delivering this much. So we have a specific capability called as tech debt or the released tangibles or something like that, like 15 PDs or something like that. And in all the release, we dedicate that time for the technical debt.
Okay.
Okay, so if somehow if there are nothing to be there, we will prioritize something else and bring the functionality to deliver. But yeah, in all the release we keep a you can say a placeholder called as a capability for the tech debt to get it deliver.
Yeah. Okay.
I would like to add, just to explain to the viewers what tech debt is. It is a compromise which you make in order to ship any feature or a code into live. Now, how does it impact your entire delivery? In case you're not clearing that tech debt, it will become a huge burden or a pressure on your entire team, and then you probably might have to run entire project to solve it, which will cost money, which will cost effort, and you're not actually focusing on the product vision which you have defined. Now, Anish has highlighted brilliant way of doing it. We also do it in a similar manner. We have a buffer for tech debt in our releases, in our scrums as well. There can be multiple types of debts. There can be tech debt, there can be resource debt, there can be architectural debt. So there are these debts keep on building unless you resolve them as you move forward to deliver those features.
Right.
Just to add on his part, like the compromise word, I think the viewer should not take it as it's the short fixes that the tech team does just to pass that phase, and then it will be like a proper fix will be done in the upcoming releases.
So next question is about, so he touched upon the refinement part a bit. Okay, so how do you do the actual backlog refinement involving different teams from inside your organization or the client side? So how do you actually go about doing the backlog refinement as the sprint is going on?
I'm going to give a bookish answer over here, Abhishek. I know Anish did highlight that refinement you should do refinement whenever you feel like it's the right time to do it, but then also have a placeholder for it, which will keep reminding your team that this is the time we have to refine our backlog. We have to make sure that the prioritized items are sitting on the top. We have kind of a rough estimate or a soft estimate for it. We have a confidence level set for it. So we have a dedicated slot for it where, like I said, we have divided our teams into 3 now. So we have product owners assigned to every team. So we go on regular sprint refinement calls and see what can be prioritized. Obviously, there is a possibility that there has a regulatory change coming into picture. A client request has come into picture which is live, and they want the feature to be released ASAP. So those becomes our priority when it comes to backlog refinement.
And how do you? So this next question to you, Anish. So how do you keep the product backlog more manageable and prevent it from becoming very long or very difficult to manage ones?
So, like repeating my previous answer, like the more you discuss on the product backlog items, the less bulkier it will be. So what we do, like we actually connect twice in a week for discussing our product backlog item. We call it as a discovery session or a backlog refinement session. So my like I always try to do like prioritize the item and then go to that meeting, rather than prioritizing it there and wasting the time. So after prioritizing it there, the more focus will be like refining that particular requirement, and you will get to know the root, or you can say that the solution of that particular requirement. Even it takes like couple of meetings, it is fine. But yeah, the frequency, or you can say the meetings of the particular stakeholders or the relevant stakeholder, it should be more frequent, and it should be like on a weekly basis to keep the size in control. Because if you are not meeting, the size will keep on increasing, and at last, product owner will be the questionable person or the accountable person for it. So keep meeting more frequently and keep discussing the items.
Correct. Yeah. Okay, so next question to you, Nitin. Yeah. So saying no to stakeholders, okay, that's always a difficult task. So how do you say elegantly to stakeholders, no, this feature request which you're making may not be either doable, may not be feasible, or not aligned to your organizational business goals.
Okay. So if you go by the definition of a product owner is someone who will take the ownership of the outcomes. Now, ownership doesn't just mean that you have to deliver everything. Ownership also means that saying no at the right time, putting your step down. Now, this no could be due to resource constraint, this no could be time constraint, this no could be funding constraints. There are multiple other constraints where this no comes into picture. Now, the way I do it is to reduce the damage in case we know that this feature is needed by the product, but not right now. So the way I communicate is, for example, all right, thank you for sharing this feedback with us. Thank you for using our product and spending time on it. But this is not our priority right now, but we'll make sure that this gets delivered in the coming months or coming years. So you're kind of doing a damage control over there and not straight away saying no to the clients. And, you asked your second or third questions that how do you tactfully handle, are you a tactician? So yes, that's the place where we become tacticians for our clients.
And just to add on it, like one liner to Nitin's answer, so like always justify your no. It should not be like a close-ended no. You give a proper justification. At that moment, it might be a bit of odd situation, but the person who is hearing that justification, he will understand and he will accept it.
Correct. So next question. So during a sprint, okay. So did you get into a situation where you had to adjust the sprint goals itself?
Yes. So like we all are seeing like how dynamic the environment is right now in like in any of the domain, banking or healthcare, anything. Stakeholders, like no one like understand exactly what they want to achieve from that part in the first go. When you start implementing it, it sometimes comes from the development team also. Like this scenario, we have not touched it. So to complete that requirement, it's like as a product owner, you should be always ready that something or the other can come up and add as a requirement. So like it is how you handle that situation. You should know the value proposition that it will give, the perspective that why this requirement is being added, that should be understood by a product owner very like on a very ground level, and then discussing that particular value to the relevant stakeholders, and then like discussing like whether we should take it in this sprint or like we can wait and we can take it as an enhancement. That discussion can like solve your problem rather than like saying directly no to the stakeholders.
So the next question is about adjusting the communication with the stakeholders. So does it happen that you had planned out there are few stakeholders, you have been communicating with that in a particular way, but something has changed. Okay, his position or her position might change in the organization. So how do you adjust the communication style or the plan?
I mean, it depends what level are they sitting on right now. In case they just want to understand. So if I have to give you, imagine I'm communicating this with my MD. So they are mostly interested in numbers. They are mostly interested in how many clients are onboarded, how much money are going through our products. So you have to cut down your communication when you take a top-down approach. So you have to communicate less and relevant when it comes to top, and while moving down the ladder, the communication becomes a bit chunkier or heavier. So when I say chunkier or heavier, your tech will be more interested in knowing the end-to-end communication which will be going to the client. And when it comes to clients, obviously the communication changes depending upon how understanding the client is when it comes to our product features. So I have been in the tech products. So there is a possibility that some developer who's sitting at client sites understands our product very well. And there is a possibility that some developer might not have that much understanding. So that is where again, tactfulness comes into picture to explain the level of jargons which you want to put in your communication, or you don't want to put those jargons and keep it simple.
Correct. Okay, so now just continuing with that discussion on communication. So how do you or your organization measures that, okay, the way your team and you have been communicating with stakeholders has been effective?
So, how do you measure the responses that we get from the stakeholders? Like, just to add on the Nitin's answer, the last part, the like we have a sections in BRD. So, executive summary is more meaningful for the like for the stakeholders who are like in the category of a sponsor. Like they will not read the whole BRD, but the like if you go down the BRD, the user journeys, it will more like elaborative and the more discussion part, so it will more for the technical perspective. So to measure the responses that we get from the stakeholders, that is how like as a like as an organization we see like how meaningful or how the what was the benefit that we get from the communicating that relevant information to the stakeholders. So that is how we measure the information from the stakeholders.
I would like to add a few other points to that question. For me, if I'm able to communicate my product features, my product vision to anybody in the organization, that means I'm doing effective communication. If I'm able to get things done, I'm doing an effective communication. If I'm able to make trade-offs, I'm able to do effective communication. Then when it comes to clients, my client adoption rate, my product adoption rate, my feedbacks which come through my clients shows that we have effectively communicated our product and it is well placed in the market.
Yeah, but just a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Okay, is that, see, how do organizations assess? I mean, let's say your organization, right? How do they know that Nitin or Anish, they have been good and stakeholders are getting what they want? In the sense, not in terms of whatever they want, in terms of what is needed actually for their organization. Okay. Is there a formal way to do that?
Yeah, I will tell like how my organization does. We have a half yearly meet. I will not name the event, but we have a half yearly meet where we invite our stakeholders and the clients or the users to visit. Like we have a location where they visit, and we actually interact in person. Like how they are feeling, how our product is doing, how our marketing team is doing. So we take a direct feedback for all the different levels, and based on that we measure the success or the performance, how we are doing as an organization or as a product.
Okay. Now it's about, let's say there is a sprint slip or some bad news, and you have to go and talk to the stakeholders. Okay. So this question is for you, Nitin. So how do you communicate that? Is there any kind of a good way to do it? It's a bad news, delivering in a good way.
I would say there's no good way to deliver a bad news. It's just that you can just do a damage control, take a fact-based approach towards it, and obviously have a plan to fix that. So that's the way I would do it. Tell them what went wrong, why it went wrong, do the complete root cause analysis, what steps we can take. So go with 3-4 alternatives, or in case if you're not able to come up with those 3-4 alternatives, at least go with one solution and the next timeline when it can be fixed. So yeah, there is no good way to say a bad news. It is just you have to be transparent with your stakeholders and do not slip things under the rug.
And just to add on Nitin's part, like I will say, like always raise the alarm right on time. Yeah. Don't wait till the last moment. Raise it right there, and it should not be on a like written communication or email. Schedule a proper meeting with the relevant people whom you need, and tell them what was the reason that it has happened, and take it as a learning. Retrospective teaches us that. Take it as a learning and show it in the future release that you have learned from that mistakes. So this gives confidence to the stakeholders also. And even like you go and tell the bad news again, they will understand that he will learn from it and he will come and deliver something extraordinary.
And don't make the same mistake
again and again. This is how retro tells us. Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is with you. So there are certain stakeholders who are very dominating because of their position or their nature. Okay. So does it happen that in addition to other stakeholders also, but they are so dominating or they are so influential that they say, okay, this feature is the most important one. So you are in a meeting and that's how it's happening. So how do you navigate through this scenario?
Yeah, actually, I had one experience in my previous organization where I was working with service-based industry. There was a lady. Actually, I think she was not dominant. The reason was she was too knowledgeable about that product. She knows a lot because she was with that organization more than 20 years. So for her, like the requirement that is relevant to her domain, she always feels that that is important, that should be delivered first. She will always tell in the prioritization meeting that this needs to be delivered first. So in the starting phase, I used to face a lot of challenge handling her. So what I did, like I started interacting her on a like weekly basis and one to one, trying to understand like what is her expectation from us. And then based on that, in a like a few weeks time, when the meeting, like in the prioritization meeting, I used to tell her a feature, like the perspective of the feature, and I used to compare the other requirements with her, and then the value proposition that it will give. And then she understood, like I am started using her technique to tell her answer. So she also like accepted it, and she like we were quite a good friend on the later part of my that tenure in that organization. So I think understanding the need and the expectation, and then the comparing the value proposition between the requirement, gives you that cushion to say no or deprioritize the other item.
So now let's get into the next scenario. So did you get into a situation where, because of the market demands or some other discovery by the client, the roadmap which has been laid out has to change? Yeah. So how do you do that?
I would say there was a situation, but it was more of a tech finding or a tech investigation. So I remember there was a team who was developing a feature for us, but while developing that feature, while testing it, we came across one more bug. Now we had to launch this feature for the client because it was high in demand. Our competitors were doing it. We had got budgets for it, etc., etc. Now we didn't have this testing in place for fixing of this bug and testing of the bug in place for that particular feature. It just came up inevitably. And our roadmap was defined to deliver the regulatory requirements. So I work in a highly regulated environment, so priority goes to them. Now, we wanted to get this bug fixed. We wanted to get this bug tested as well. And we had major pushback from Scrum Masters and test leads on this. But it's just the urgency and importance which made us get it on the roadmap. So it's just the way you communicate. It's just the way you make those trade-offs and prioritize those issues, and the team will understand it. You can make space. There is no thumb rule that you can't make space in your roadmap. You can't make space in your team to do any ad hoc works. You can do that if it is backed by a fact-based approach, an urgency approach.
Yeah. Adaptability has to be there.
Yes.
I mean, that's the name of the game in Agile.
Yeah.
So next question to you. So has it been a situation where you have to reject a sprint deliverable? If yes, how did you manage your team?
I think it was not rejection, but it was like I was not convinced with what it was delivered completely. I didn't reject the whole deliverables, but I told my team that this is what you deliver is not accepted. You need to add the one more functionality that they somehow missed to implement it. So like telling them, like always ask the question before like always know the question or the solution before go and implement them, and the QA also. And I think the tool or you can say the document RTM, it actually helps the team. Right now I see like BAs also, they don't want to prepare their document, but that in my earlier days I used to prepare the document because that gives me confidence while going to the stakeholders that we have completed the requirement. That gives us confidence. It validates your completeness of the requirement. So yeah, sometimes it is like that. So I ask my team that you need extra sprint, you go and build that, and then only it will be accepted.
Very well said, Anish. We have seen in the organizations, we have seen in the teams, sometimes quantity matters over quality to them, which shouldn't be the case. You take your time, you take 2-3 sprints, but get things done properly. Understand those Scrum goals, understand how urgent or how important this is for client, because it's it's you who will face clients' brunt. It's you block your team from that. You're the gatekeeper for them. So yes, very very well said, Anish. That take your time to deliver value actually, and not just something to the client.
So the next question to you, Nitin. So is there or there has been a situation which you faced where two strong stakeholders, they were at odds, and you had to manage it. So how did you manage that?
I mean, this hasn't happened. This is not happening in product owner. This has happened in BA role as well, and this goes on in the organization. So if I'll give you a very generic example over here. First of all, see if those views are inclined to the product vision, your company's goal, your objectives which you have set. If no, it's a straight no to those views or suggestions. In case those are getting aligned to what you're delivering. So if I have to give you a very generic example, say your compliance head is saying we want to perform all the steps before onboarding a customer or a client. Your sales head is saying I want to reduce the number of onboarding steps. Now these are conflicting requirements, right? Those compliance steps can be 10, 15, and your sales head wants to onboard the client for say 3 or 4 steps itself. Now you have to come to a common ground. The common ground could be just a proposal, could be doing some pre-checks in the background. It could be like a fraud check, sanction check, KYC check, etc., etc. Now, this will comply with your compliance head, and it will also kind of comply with your sales head as well. So it is you who has to decide, and it's not just your decision. Obviously, you will need your tech team to make that call. So you do get to a solution. So there's no such situation where you won't reach a solution to such problems if handled tactfully with research and like I always say, fact-based approach.
Correct. So the next question is, did you get into a situation where you had to take a decision about the product which you knew that may not be liked by the customer? So what did you do in that case, and how did you manage the customer expectations then?
Okay, so like practically as a product owner I have not faced, but as a BA I have faced this situation, like going into the UAT and demonstrating the feature, and I came like I was very much sure that they will not like it, but the value proposition was not tangible by delivering that feature. Sometimes you need to deliver something that will give an intangible value to your product. So that thing needs to be demonstrated, and that thing needs to be understood by the stakeholder, that even that feature is not giving or monetary benefit or not onboarding new customer, but yeah, down the line this feature will add a value that will be helpful for the product to grow, so maturing. So make them understand the intangible value in the understanding, giving the understanding to them, and then throw the ball to their code, whether they want to accept it or they want to reject it. So this was the challenge as a BA I faced in one of the organization, and when I told about the value, they actually accepted the feature, and it actually down the line after 2 or 3 release, that feature actually added some value to the product. So this is how you tell your stakeholders to understand the value proposition.
I also remember one situation I would say, while working as a product owner in past few months, where I had to communicate to the client that, all right, this was the promised date, we can't deliver this feature as per the promised date. The client had already communicated this to their business and to their tech team. The reason why we did that was we were actually doing more investigation to make sure that that feature in long term performs better. Like Anish mentioned, look at the long term goal. And this was communicated in a very transparent, I would say it was not sugar coated at all. It was communicated word to word by word to the client, and they were kind of okay with it. Obviously not, not comfortable, but they were okay with it.
They got convinced.
They got convinced. Yes, that's the right word. They got convinced.
Okay, so as a product owner, because you're also dealing with products which are going to get into the market, so how do you keep track of what is happening in the market or the current trends, so that it may help you in prioritization as well as in listing out the features and working on that?
there is no easy way to do it. You have to read. You have to stay in touch with the market. You have to, try to speak to some of the competitors if you can. Try to find out what they are doing. So you have to go into details. You have to do that hard work to get that information for your product. So there's no easy way of doing it. It sounds like a bookish answer, like I said, like I'm saying, Abhishek, but there is no other way you can do it. You have to research on your own. Your entire team has to research on your own. And like we have discussed, these market trends, competitor analysis do help you in prioritizing your features. It could be something like, your competitor is doing, so you have to do it because the clients will not get on board. Or you might be a driver for that feature. So these are the things which matter when it comes to market trends and competitor analysis.
So how about using these new GenAI tools, ChatGPT and Gemini?
It does help, but I still feel a background verification is still required.
Authenticate.
To authenticate that response which you have got from it. It will give you a summary, but it will not give you the details.
Okay, so this is end to all the questions which I wanted to ask. But one question came to my mind. We talked all about challenges of product owner, but I'm sure you are product owners, and there are a lot of good things about being a product owner. Okay, so the last question before I get into the conclusion part is that what are the good things about being a product owner?
I feel I understand business more now. I'm more in touch with the business aspect of it. Obviously, the tech comes later for me because business is one of the major drivers. So that is one positive thing. And now you can take more decisions, which you couldn't as you were BAs. When it comes to business analysis, you're just someone who will propose an answer. You're not taking a decision for that answer. But when it comes to product ownership, you're owning that entire solution or owning that answer. And it comes with its own drawbacks as well. In case things fail, it will fall on your shoulder. So yes, decision making has improved. It gives me better perspective of what business is trying to achieve. So these are the major things. The third thing which I personally feel, I don't have to fill any kind of timesheets or hours now, which I used to do as business analyst. So we are part of business and it just goes on.
I think just to add on Nitin's answer, so from a BA perspective, it is more like how the things will be done. But as a product owner, you will start thinking like what and why, what needs to be built, like what I will add in my product so that customer will start using it. That is a very important mindset that you will start developing. And yeah, directly if you start interacting with your customer, so you will understand the market trends more and what are their expectations. So these are the basic differences which I feel as a BA and as a product owner have currently in the industry.
Yeah, so basically you have moved up the value chain.
Correct.
From business analyst to product owner. It's definitely a much higher pedestal. Plus, you have more freedom.
Correct.
To take decisions and help customers achieve their business goals.
Correct.
Yeah, so that's good. So the last question: any advice to aspirants who are looking to become a product owner or want to move from junior to senior PO? One advice. What would you give? Let's start with you, Anish.
What I understood working as a BA and transition to product owners, don't use shortcuts. Like, develop your core skills. That will only, like, BA's core skill will only add value to when you become a product owner. And the communication part, that is very important. To whomever you are communicating, you should know what is the reason behind that communication. I think this is enough for today.
Yeah. Okay, Nitin.
I would say understand the role first. That's your first step. These roles might be sounding easy when people hear about it, that it's all about management, it's all about communication, it's all about research, but it's not. It is beyond that. There won't be anyone who will tell you what you have to do. There's no hand-holding when it comes to product ownership or product manager roles as well. But when it comes to business analysis, the roles which we have played in the past, you do have some support from your senior business analyst or your project manager, anyone. But this role doesn't come with any kind of support. It is your feature, it is your product, and you can either make it or break it.
Right. So that was great. Thank you so much, Anish and Nitin. That was fantastic. I think you gave really good answers.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you must get benefited out of this. We have also done BA interview question and answers. Nitin was part of that as well. We have also done data analyst interview questions and answers. And now next, we are going to do product manager interview question and answers. Thank you so much for being with us. See you in the next episode.